Many people are wondering if we are in the end times right now. Almost every church leader in this day and age would agree that they believe we are. But what does Jesus say will happen in the end times according to the book of Matthew in the Bible? We'll begin in chapter 24 in the English Standard Version and continue on until we reach verse 44. Starting in verse 3. As Jesus sat on the Mount of Olives, his disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will all this happen? What sign will signal your return and the end of the world?" Jesus answered them, saying,
"See that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will lead many astray. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains or sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and will betray one another and will hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come."
All right, let's pause here. It has been argued for many years whether believers in Christ will be here for the 7-year tribulations, or if we will be raptured up to heaven with Jesus before all the chaotic death and destruction breaks loose. Let's continue where we left off in verses 15 and hear what Jesus has to say about the tribulations.
"So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in his house, and let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And woe to those who are pregnant and for those who may be nursing infants in those days. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now. No, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect those days will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, 'Look, here is the Christ,' or 'There he is,' do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. So if they say to you, 'Look, he is in the wilderness,' do not go out. If they say, 'Look, he is in the inner rooms,' do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, there the vultures will gather."
What exactly is this abomination of desolation that Jesus was speaking of as he continued to answer the second part of his disciples' question? Well, it's not really made clear, but it is mentioned in a few passages in the book of Daniel. It's mysterious and interpretations of it vary, but it seems to imply that some form of abominable event or act will happen in a holy place, likely referring to the temple in Jerusalem or the city itself. The middle verses are saying that when this abomination takes place, it then intensifies from a time of tribulations into an era of even greater tribulations, which will be far more horrific than any other time in human history, and warns that those who see this act of abomination should immediately run away and not look or go back home for anything. He then warns them of many false messiahs, but not to believe them because his second coming will happen suddenly like a flash of lightning that will be seen and made known to everyone. Lastly, the corpse and vultures signify that like how vultures can easily spot and encircle a corpse, we will easily be able to see the signs of his second coming. It can also be linked to spiritual death and God's judgment. Now let's hear what he says about the coming of the Son of Man in verse 29.
"Immediately after the tribulation of those days the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, And then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So, we know it will be a dark period of time. The sun becomes darkened, which in turn will make the moon stop reflecting light. There are, however, a few theories on what he meant by the stars falling from the heavens. It's important to remember that one word in ancient Hebrew often had multiple meanings. For example, the word bird could be used to describe a bat or pretty much anything that could fly. Modern language and writing has changed a lot since then. Some Bible scholars say it should be taken literally, as if the giant balls of gas we call stars are going to come crashing down to Earth, while some suggest it could be that something will congest the atmosphere, reducing the light we get from the sun, stars, and moon. And others even go as far as to say it is a metaphor to describe geopolitical events. No matter what he meant, one thing is for certain: something will happen in the sky before his return, and it definitely doesn't sound good. We continue now in verse 32.
From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as its branch become tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see all these things, you know that he is near at the very gates. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But concerning that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away, so will it be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect.
There's no doubt that crazy things keep happening all over the world, from people claiming to be Jesus, wars, civil wars, and rumors of them all over the Middle East and Asia, earthquakes, natural disasters, and even food shortages. It very much seems that we are nearing the tribulations, and some believe we are already there. Christian persecution has always happened and is believed to get much worse in the days to come. Jesus is Lord, but not even he knows the day or hour he will return. Even though all this sounds terribly scary, we don't have to be afraid. God tells us 365 times in his word that we are safe in Christ. Remember, God wins in the end. So keep a strong relationship with Christ and put your trust in him and his word. Thanks for watching. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to leave a like and comment, which helps recommend this video to others. God bless.